Not the sports news on Africa with Romy Titus and Kevin McCollum.
What does it take to keep a pitch in pristine condition? Doesn't matter if it's FNB, Rand Stadium, Dobsonville, Orlando Stadium. We have someone who knows exactly all the intricacies. Because like I said, Kev, you and I sit here, we point fingers, we raise questions, but do we really know? Bertie Grobelaar now joins us of Stadium Management. Bertie, so good to have you. How you been?
Rami, good to speak to you. It's been ages.
It's been too long, but happy to have you. Bertie, if it is that you're looking after FNB as Stadium Management, Dobsonville, Rand Stadium and Orlando Stadium, who do you side with when it's the biggest rivals in football whose homes you look after?
I keep my eyes shut and my mouth shut as well. So.
What goes into looking after a pitch? Let's take FNB Stadium. It's a 90,000-seater stadium. It's massive, Bertie. I guess you can't be waiting for football to come. You know, it's got to make money in other ways. If it's rugby, if it's an event, if it's a concert.
You know, I think with the last derby that we had, and I think it was the first negativity that we experienced on the pitch before or after a derby. And I think we just need to get perspective. We all know that with the change in the sponsorship with the PSL, the derbies were moved, both derbies, to this side of the season in 2025. Mm-hmm. Remember, there's always one at the end of a calendar year and then one in the beginning of the calendar year. Mm-hmm. Beginning of the season, end of the season.
Correct.
So as you say, a stadium like FNB Stadium, in fact, all other stadiums, in terms of our agreement with the city of Johannesburg, is multi-purpose venues. And our agreements dictate, except for the financial sustainability, the agreements dictate that there's a bigger picture. It has to impact on the economy of the province and of the city. So we are obliged to host other events. So we plan that around the big fixtures like a derby.
Okay.
So the concerts in December and the one in January was planned on the basis of a derby at the end of February, beginning of March, like it always is. And if the derby was end of February, beginning of March, nobody would have even noticed the pitch issues at FNB, because we would have had enough time to again prepare it and to get it to rehabilitate it, in the words of the pitch maintenance guys. All of a sudden, we were confronted with the derby moved to the 1st of February with a concert on the 19th of January, planned long before. And there's nothing that I could have done to avoid it. We had to manage the situation. And the fact that the pitch was in the state it was at the derby, in my eyes, was a feather in the cap of the pitch maintenance guys, and short of a miracle. We all saw the pitch on the Nedbank Cup fixture played a week after the concert.
Yeah.
Remember, a concert is not you put up a stage and the next day it's off. It takes, the concert was on the Saturday, on a Sunday, apologies. Then the loadout starts with cranes and heavy equipment on the pitch to remove all of those steel structures. That was done on the Thursday. The pitch maintenance guys had the pitch for the first time to start preparing it. On the Sunday, we played the game here. And that was why it was in the state on that, the Nedbank Cup first round fixture. And then they had another week, 10 days, to work on the pitch for the derby. And that is part of the reason why it was in the, and I'm using state in a negative word, it in my mind wasn't that bad, the FNB pitch, but it's not up to the standard we want to deliver. It's not stadium management standards. It's not the standards of the clubs that's participating, the PSL, because you've got an obligation towards fans and you've got an obligation to sponsors.
So, but does it matter though, Bertie? Does it matter? Because if it is that you're raising your hand to say, but look, based on the calendar, based on what has happened, this pitch is needs a little bit of resuscitation, rehabilitation, needs to be resussed. Can it move? Can't it move? Or do you just have to go with the flow based on the fact that they're coming to FNB Stadium and it is in the calendar on the 1st of Feb? Don't want to hear anything about it.
No, I don't think it will happen ever again. It was because of the change from the DStv Premiership to the Betway. Remember the fixtures were announced very late, and it was a delay. So that is it was unique circumstances this time around, and I don't think it will ever happen again.
That's good to know, Bertie. How much goes into looking after a stadium like FNB? I mean, the seats obviously probably break, there's just so many things. It's about bathrooms, it's about plumbing, it's about toilet paper, it's about every time I walk through the doors there, I want to be at home, I want to enjoy myself. Could you give us a figure?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, and I'm going to give you some numbers, but it's around it, and I think it's important, and maybe a discussion of this sort should be had on a more regular basis to inform fans. A planning of an event, if it's a 5,000 capacity event, the event expenses to open up the gates to FNB is around 350,000.
Wow.
If it's a 20,000 capacity planned event, the cost is around 700,000. For a derby to open the gates, it's 5 million.
What?
That's obviously security and planning. God, that's a heck of a number. I mean,
so that is and people don't understand it. If there's a planned capacity, the club says we're playing Team X, and the capacity is 10,000. Let's take, for example, Orlando. There has to be a decision taken by all involved. We're not going to open the second level to save, as was mentioned now, to save on security, to save on cleaning, to save on bathroom utilities, and something simple like toilet paper. Now you get a fan arriving at the venue, but he's saying, "But I want to sit on the second level," and they don't understand why the second level is not open. It's because of that, and you can do the calculations yourself. On 5,000 tickets, at 60 rand the tickets, it's 300,000 income. You're already in a loss. So there's, and this is only related to event expenses. We don't even touch at this point on the day-to-day operations and day-to-day expenses, month-to-month expenses. And the KPI items, capex that has to be replaced. Stadiums, in your home.
Yeah.
If your home gets to the point where it's 10 years old, 14 years old, there's big ticket items that has to be replaced. So this is not even taking into account. The electricity account for the FNB Stadium is 1.1 million per month.
Gee whiz.
that's
It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I'm even thinking about when you have the time to come in, sit with us actually, and we roll it out, because I think there's so much education in knowing how it operates, so that when we do point fingers, it's from a place of knowing rather than just from a place of criticism, But if we talk about the pitch at the moment, would you say in that rehabilitation phase at the moment, where soon we will be seeing a really nice grass green pitch?
You'll definitely see one on Sunday with the Nedbank round of 16. So yeah, tirelessly at work, the pitch maintenance guys. And speaking of the pitch, at FNB, it's what we call a hybrid pitch. So it's a deso. It's a type of plastic thread that's stitched into the pitch. It's about 20% of the actual covering of the pitch is this deso plastic grass, and the aim or the purpose of that is the ryegrass, the root of that, the ryegrass affixes itself to this plastic thread, and that avoids divots and people slipping on the pitch. Now, the lifespan of this Deso pitches is also 10 to 14 years. You're speaking about another capex item. Very soon, we in the or at the point where we will need to replace similar what they did to the Loftus installation was the first one. They had a natural grass pitch, but 2 years back they did a similar pitch at Loftus with the Deso. So very soon we'll be in a position that we don't have a choice but to, because if this Deso disintegrates or it becomes brittle, it loses its capacity to fulfill its function, then you get a pitch where you see a lot of divots, you see people slipping and sliding. Yeah, but yeah, we're hard at work, and judge us at the next derby and judge us in the following games.
We'll definitely do so. You've answered our burning question, Bertie. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And we'll definitely be giving Bertie Grobler another call, because I think it'll be interesting. If it is that we took a walk on the pitch, we see where the divots are. Where is it that the irrigation, that's the word I'm looking for, lines go, and this Deso pitch, as he calls, which is a delicate sowing of the natural grass, or the ryegrass, as he says, along with the artificial plastic grass, so to speak. So
just cut up. They get old. 5 million for a derby just to put it on.
1.1 million for the lights to stay on? How do you make money from that? That was my next question. But today we had the burning question about why pitches are scrappy. That if I had to ask that, man, we'd still be sitting here by 5 this evening.
I think so. And thanks to Birdie for being so honest. He didn't flinch from the questions. Excellent interview. I'm glad he came on. I'd love to have him on again. I wonder if they have liability if a player gets injured on a bad pitch. That might be a question as well. If a guy does his knee, what could it...
I don't know. Do they go back to... Because, look, he said, had they been given ample time, right, then the pitch would have been in pitch perfect. They were not given that, right? So stadium management saying not ready. Betway Prem is saying we're coming. PSL saying we're coming. Broadcasters are like, we're not changing anything.
Yeah.
So does the liability fall on stadium management for flagging that the pitch isn't ready, or does it fall on the team? So if somebody had to break their knee or ankle in that divot that we saw at half time, stadium management said that we're not ready. So is it just you injured yourself and off you go, and obviously medical aid, etc., insurance on players, etc., pay out? You are now sitting there and recovering.
It affects your form for the rest of the season. Perhaps.
Correct. So I think it's a very integral part of a game of football, specifically, that you have to play on a pitch that is deemed fit for you to be able to play on it. If you think about Rwanda, I remember Bafana played on a rain-soaked artificial turf. They could not get the water off. Firstly, dangerous. Secondly, obviously, they knew why they were bringing us there, because they know the pitch is crappy, And so Bafana are like, how do we play our game now? They taken aback. They need to still process. Whereas the other team already know, So it's a very important part of the game. But I love the question, because who does it fall on? But if stadium management have absolved themselves to say, look, we are already telling you it's not ready. And we're forced to honor the fixture based on the fact that it's going to be a sold-out affair. It's going to be 100,000 people in here, if you think about caterers, etc., not just the Soweto Stadium. You still have all the staff in the background who aren't counted. It's going ahead. Where else do you take a derby? I think Orlando is too small. So now you're at the FNB Stadium in order to accommodate the masses and make sure that April 11th doesn't happen again,
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, if it's one thing about Bertie, just take a look at any game, guys. You will see Bertie marching up and down. You won't see him sitting in his corner office, high up there on the whatever level. You'll see him literally policing, making sure that did tier 2 open at this time like we said we would? Is this working? Is that working? What is the complaint? He's just awesome.
And there's also the culture amongst fans. Imagine you postpone a game because of a bad pitch. 60,000 very angry people. And then that's the cost. So if it's costing $5 million to put on, PSL, Betway as a sponsor, Supersport as a broadcaster, SABC as a broadcaster, it's all the impact on those guys.
It's a ripple effect, yeah. And you've
well.
also probably put your entire life on hold to be able to make it to this game, and now we're just like, pitch ain't ready,
They're professionals, play on anything.
However, I do think that proper planning, there's got to be a process and a system here that we work with and that we stick to, which means Betway Prem, you've taken over, right? But fixtures, and I know it's not just the sponsor, it's everybody, right? Who has, all stakeholders here need to make calls earlier in terms of games. When are we playing, and can we stick to that?
Yeah.
Can we? And if we do that, you and I don't have to have a conversation about a scrappy pitch and someone almost breaking their leg in a divot.
I see the PSL's just announced that the Nedbank Cup fixture between Royal AM and Milford has been called off.
Cancelled? Postponed?
Postponed, sorry. Not
Okay.
called off.
Okay.
But they've got there's the Royal AM saga can't go on. I mean, it's dragged on for too long.
Look, it's hanging in the balance and we don't actually know what is going on. However, I do think that this happens to be the poster kid of how we are not going to run our league. So maybe it's the first of its kind and here we are. But let it obviously be sort of the warning shot to anybody else coming who wants to own a club, that you need the financial muscle in order to do it. Not just for today.
Yeah.
There has to be a plan, a forecast as to how do you intend on keeping this alive, on getting sponsors, and on paying people's salaries. Because for me, that happens to be the saddest part when children and families start to suffer.
Yeah.
So maybe the poster kid of how we will not run our league here in South Africa, if it is that South Africa's league is touted to be the best in Africa. At the moment, this is really tarnishing the image.
It looks like they're running a spaza shop there.
I think the spaza shop is run better.
Yeah, okay. And I'd love to sit Bertie down and talk about the economics of a game, what the break-even part of it is.
I think we
How
should.
much do you make? It's 5 million rand. I was a bit
I was blown
gobsmacked.
away actually as well.
And as I said, 1.1 million for electricity. And you think the Wanderers is doing that? And how do they make their money? How do you
And
keep...
how much do you, every time a team comes to play and you have to put the lights on at a certain time, the floodlights, those have to go on. How much does that alone cost? If 1.1 is the entire bill for
load shedding.
the month. Load shedding. Generators have to kick in, I'm sure, at a stadium of that magnitude, because what? You can't have Chris Breezy there singing and the next thing we don't have any power. Or is Eskom lenient enough to know and say, look, based on the fact that here is a concert, man, may the lights shine.
Don't know what the solution is, but thanks to Bertie for coming on.
Definitely. Is that the show?
That's the show.
I still have so much to say.
I know. We're definitely going to come back to this. Definitely.
And we're back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Till then, cheerio.
Listen live and on demand.
Welcome to Omni Sport.